When you want to measure current, the most accurate way to do that is with a digital multimeter. A digital multimeter contains a precision resistor, and the current actually flows across that resistor and displays the value. The problem with digital multimeters is you actually have to break the circuit and insert the meter in series to get that current measurement. That's fine when you're working on small electronics or breadboarding and developing things. It's not practical if you're trying to measure current on something like a light bulb and a cord, or an appliance and a cord in your house. I've got a couple light bulbs switched on. I'm drawing 2.4 amps here, and I actually had to cut the wire in order to put this meter in series to measure that current. So that's where something like a clamp meter comes in. A clamp meter lets you actually clamp around the wire and measure current that way without breaking the circuit. You can see I've got 2.4 amps flowing through the multimeter, and I've got 2.4 amps on the clamp meter, making that same measurement. Now, the problem with the clamp meter, though, is that it needs to measure only one wire, because in this cord, you've actually got a hot wire coming down and current flowing this way through the hot wire, and then through the lights, and then returning through your neutral wire. So if I take this clamp meter and just clamp it around the cord, I get zero reading because the two currents cancel each other out. I'm actually getting current flowing down one wire and back down the other, and I get zero on the display. But when I have the wires broken out, like here, and I clamp just around one of those wires, I'll get my 2.4 amps flowing through the hot wire. Here I can go through the neutral wire and get 2.4 amps flowing through that. So to measure currents with a clamp meter on a cord or an appliance that you have in your house, you want to use a device called a line splitter. So here's what the inside of a line splitter looks like. Your hot wire comes in and is separated onto this side of the line splitter. Your neutral wire comes in here and is separated on this side. So when you take your clamp meter and clamp it around, you've only got that clamped around one of those wires. Most line splitters have a ×1 and a ×10. So this one has just one wire by it, which is your ×1 reading. This has the wire wrapped around 10 times, so that when you clamp around this side, you'll get 10 times the current reading. And that's all that's inside a line splitter. It's just a nice, convenient way to separate your hot and neutral wires, so you can put your clamp meter around it. So to use a line splitter, simply unplug whatever cord or device you want to measure. Take the line splitter and insert it in between your outlet or your cord or whatever you're using. And now you've got a ×1 jack and a ×10 jack to make your current readings. I simply have a single CFL bulb plugged in right now. So I've only got about 0.17 amps through that single CFL bulb. So a lot of clamp meters do not have that kind of resolution to measure low current. This particular Fluke only has 1 decimal place of resolution. So if I plugged him onto the ×1 hole, I've got 0.1 amps, 0.2 amps. I don't get that fine resolution of 0.16 or 0.17. But if I move him over to the ×10 jack, now I'm going to read 1.6 amps through this clamp meter, which would give me that extra decimal place of resolution because I'm in a ×10 current jack. I'm really reading 0.16 amps. This helps your clamp meter pick up those lower currents, and it helps on accuracy. I've actually done another video on how display counts and resolution of your meter affects the accuracy of the reading. I'll put a link to that video in the description of this one. It's a great way to understand why you want to get as many decimal places behind your readings as possible. So the ×10 jack helps you do that. There's a lot more to learn about selecting the right meter or how to use your current meter more effectively. Make sure you subscribe to this channel to learn more about meters